Now I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful roasted tomato salsa in a molcajete. This is the way that is served in so many different households. Okay, so you just take some fresh tomatoes here, some garlic, jalapeno peppers, some white onion, and this is the easiest recipe in the world. So you just take a little bit of the, like, if I'm making a small amount of salsa, I just do like one clove of garlic. So just peel it. It does help to give it a little tap with a knife before, see? Then all we do is just cut this in half. And then you decide if you want it really spicy. I would do the whole jalapeno, medium, half, and then a quarter, just mild. So I'm gonna make a friendly salsa. Friendly so that everyone can enjoy it. Start with just a quarter, and then some onion, maybe just about that much. All of our recipes will be on our cookbook, and later we'll print them out so that you'll get exact recipe, but right now it's just the cooking method that I want to show you, okay? So we get a skillet that's super hot, like this, and all I do is just throw this ingredients in. Do you see that? No oil, just hot skillet. And what that does is that scores the skin of the tomato and onion, and it gives it a nice smoky flavor, and that's what we want in our salsa. So we're just gonna let this cook a little bit and dehydrate all the water from the tomato, roast the onion, add a little bit of smokiness, a little bit of that bitter element to round the sauce later. So we'll let this cook, okay? Okay, the tomatoes look nice and roasted. So when you see that, because we didn't put any oil, the edges kind of get burnt, and you might be thinking that you burnt it, like it's not good. But no, that's exactly what we want. We want a little bit of that roasted edges, and that's what gives it that bitter element. So this is what I want to show you. So we take our mortar and pestle that we grind our spices before. So we'll take a little bit of that spice mixture, okay? Then I start with the hardest to grind foods, okay? Like our jalapeno and garlic. And look at this. Makes like a nice paste with all the spices. And then that way you're not biting into garlic or chili. You're just getting the essence and aroma of the garlic and the chili throughout the salsa. Okay, so look at this. That's all we need. Then you want to take a little bit of the onion. And what I like to do is I like to rough chop it. Here. Rough chop it a little bit just so that it gives me less work. I mean, the Maya chopped everything in the mortar and pestle, but just because this is the easiest way, I like to chop it a little bit first, just rough chop. And everything's rough chop, throw in jalapeno, throw in the tomato, no exact measurements, because this is where you get to decide if you want it more tomatoey, more garlicky, more spicy. This is when you get to decide how you want it. And salsa is not an exact science. Every Mexican household has their own version of salsa. Some can be spicier. Some like to use red chilies and not jalapeno. I like to use the nice jalapeno here because it gives it a lot of aroma and mild. But if you're the type of person that has a garden and has all kinds of amazing chilies growing in it, all you're adding is the spicy element. That's how you need to look at it. The base is tomato and onions. You can add as much chili as you like. Okay, so now that we have like a nice paste here with the onion that's been bruised, The last item that we put is the tomatoes. Why the tomatoes at the end? They're very watery, and it's easier to just mash up a little bit. You see how I'm taking some of that skin off? We want to make it nice and delicate. So all I do here is gently mash it. Gently because it has a lot of water. You can get hot liquid on you, so you don't want that. Might burn you. So we mash it gently like this, and look at that. Look how fast we're seeing salsa come together. Mash, mash, mash. And go round and round for all of the ingredients to come together. And we just finish it with a little bit of cilantro. Here, just yank some cilantro leaves. I think my style of cooking is very much like my grandmother's. Obviously, I learned from her, but there's no measuring. It's just more like yanking some herbs, mashing some ingredients together. What's important, see, look at this, salsa. You have salsa. So what's important about this is that you learn the technique, and the technique of grinding your spices from scratch, roasting the tomato, garlic, chili, mashing it up together. And I would encourage you to make your own style of salsa. Just knowing the basics, you can make any kind of salsa that you would like. If it's seasoned for heirloom tomatoes, if you have a lot of cherry tomatoes that you don't know what to do because you grew a garden and you can't keep up, it's beautiful. Throw a bunch of those same cherry tomatoes into a roasting pan like this, throw them in here, mash them up together, and it's a lot sweeter. You could do an Italian version instead of the cilantro, add some basil, drizzle some olive oil, toss it with some pasta or in a salad, and it's beautiful. What I want to show you is the versatility of using a mortar and pestle and how nicer it tastes when you grind everything from scratch. Just one last thing to know about the salsa this style is that when you put it in your refrigerator, because we've cooked the ingredients, it lasts a lot longer than your salsa fresca, because any potential bacteria that could be in the outside of the skin has already been cooked. And what that smokiness adds as well, like I was saying before, is that bitter element. If you really think about all of the 5 different flavors that your tongue detects, sweet, sour, salty, bitter, savory, we have it all in this simple little salsa. The savory and the sweetness from the onion, the sour from the tomatoes, the bitterness from burning and charring the skins of the tomato. And that's in the salt. Obviously, we add a little bit of the salt with the spices. But the element that I really want you to focus on making any kind of salsa is that bitter element that we don't really think about too much. So that bitter element is what's going to make you crave and salivate for more. So think about bitter elements. Beer that are addicting, okay? Beer, wine, coffee, tea, chocolate, bitter elements that we incorporate into our food that make our mouth water for more. So here we incorporate that bitter element by charring our vegetables, and that gives it that little smoky, caramelized sugar round flavor that makes you craving for more. So hopefully you can use this as a base for the salsa that you're about to make in your own home.